At 11:47 p.m. on Thanksgiving night, Sarah Miller made a choice that would get her fired within 6 hours. But here's what nobody knew: that choice had already saved her daughter's life. Let me ask you something. What would you do if the person you feared most in this world was released from jail 72 hours before a holiday, and you had an 8-year-old daughter, and nowhere to hide, and rent was already 2 weeks late? Would you call the police? Would you run? Would you keep showing up to your minimum wage job on Thanksgiving because losing that paycheck meant losing everything? Sarah Miller didn't have the luxury of choosing all three, so she chose the one thing she thought might keep them both alive. She brought Emma to work. Before we get into the story, kindly let us know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy this story, please like the video so other people just like you can find this video too. Now let's get into it. Now, I need you to understand something about St. Catherine's Hospital. It's not some small-town clinic. This is a 400-bed facility in the middle of Pittsburgh. Security cameras on every floor, badge-controlled entrances, guards at every exit. For most people, that's just standard protocol. For Sarah Miller, on November 23rd, those security measures were the only reason she could breathe. Because somewhere out there, David Miller, her ex-husband, Emma's father, a man with a restraining order and a prior assault conviction, was looking for them, and his probation officer had lost track of him. So tell me, if you were Sarah, and you had a shift starting at midnight, and every women's shelter in the city was at capacity because of the holiday, and your daughter couldn't stop asking why Daddy kept calling from different phone numbers, where would you go? Picture this. It's 11:30 p.m. The hospital parking lot is almost empty. Sarah's 2004 Honda Civic pulls into a spot under a flickering streetlight. The back seat is packed with garbage bags full of clothes. There's a pillow wedged against the window. A box of granola bars on the dashboard. Emma steps out clutching a teddy bear that's missing one eye. She's wearing 2 jackets, one of them too small, from last winter. Sarah's wearing her custodial uniform, the same one she's worn for 3 years. It still smells like bleach and industrial soap. They walk toward the employee entrance, hand in hand. Sarah's grip is too tight. Emma doesn't complain. A security guard nods at them. Sarah smiles. It doesn't reach her eyes. And here's the thing that'll haunt you when you hear the rest of this story. Emma thinks this is normal. She thinks everyone lives like this, because this is all she's known for 8 months. Sarah clocks in at 11:58 p.m., 2 minutes early. She always is. She takes Emma down a back hallway, past the laundry room, past the biohazard disposal, to a supply closet on the 3rd floor that nobody uses anymore. It's got a broken lock, but it's quiet. There's a folding chair in there. A cart with cleaning supplies. Just enough space for a small girl to sit on the floor with a coloring book. Sarah kneels down, tucks a strand of hair behind Emma's ear, whispers something we'll never hear, but we know what it means, because Emma nods. Asterisk, stay quiet, stay hidden, I'll check on you every hour. Asterisk. Emma's done this before, and that's when you have to ask yourself, how many times has this little girl sat in closets, in storage rooms, in the back seats of cars, while her mother worked double shifts just to keep a roof over their heads? How many times has she colored in the dark because turning on a light might get them caught? But here's the part that no one could have predicted. Not Sarah, not Emma, not even the man who was about to walk through those hospital doors and change everything. At 12:35 a.m., Sarah's supervisor, Linda, makes her rounds. She's 56 years old. Been working at Street Catherine's for 22 years. Follows every rule in the book because that's how you keep a job in a system that's always looking for a reason to let you go. Linda opens the supply closet, finds Emma, and just like that, Sarah Miller's carefully constructed plan falls apart. By 1:15 a.m., she's fired. By 1:30, she's packing up her daughter, walking back to that Honda Civic with garbage bags in the back seat, trying not to cry because Emma's watching, trying to figure out what happens next. But what Sarah doesn't know, what she can't know yet, is that at that exact moment, a black SUV is pulling into the hospital parking lot. The man stepping out is Dr. Michael Rhodes, 38 years old, new owner of Street Catherine's Hospital, and he's about to make a decision that will unravel everything. Because when Michael sees Sarah sitting in her car, her face buried in her hands, her daughter staring blankly out the window, he recognizes something. What is it? Why does this stranger's pain stop him in his tracks? That's the question that's going to keep you here for the next 27 minutes. Because the answer, it's not what you think. Let's go back 6 hours, to when Sarah and Emma first walked through those hospital doors. Because if you want to understand why Michael Rhodes did what he did next, you need to see what he saw. You need to meet Sarah Miller. Not the woman crying in a parking lot, but the woman who survived something most people can't even imagine. This is her story, but it's also his. And by the end, you're going to have to decide, if you had the power to rewrite someone's worst day, would you? November 23rd, Thanksgiving. Midnight shift begins in 4 minutes. November 23rd, 11:58 p.m. Sarah Miller clocks in exactly 2 minutes early, just like she has for 1,095 days straight, 3 years. Not a single late arrival. Not one missed shift. You want to know what that kind of consistency costs a person? Look at her hands. The skin around her nails is cracked from industrial cleaning solutions. There's a scar on her left thumb from a box cutter incident 8 months ago. She didn't report it because she couldn't afford to take time off. She's 32 years old, but if you saw her under these fluorescent lights, you'd guess 38. Maybe 40. That's what exhaustion does. It ages you in ways that have nothing to do with time. Emma waits by the supply cart, patient as a ghost. She's learned not to ask questions, not to complain. 8 years old, and she already understands that her mother is holding their world together with duct tape and prayers. Sarah opens the supply closet on the 3rd floor. The door creaks metal on metal. Inside, it smells like pine sol and cardboard. There's barely enough room for both of them to stand, so Emma sits on the floor immediately, like she's rehearsed this. And maybe she has. How many closets has this child waited in? How many times has she made herself small so her mother could survive another shift? Sarah kneels down. Her knees crack. She's too young for that sound, but here it is anyway. She pulls out a Ziploc bag with graham crackers, a juice box, and a small bag of baby carrots. It's not much, but it's something. Emma takes it without a word. She's already pulling out her coloring book, the same one she's been working on for 3 months because new ones cost money they don't have. Sarah touches her daughter's face. Just for a second. Her thumb brushes Emma's cheek, and you can see it. The way her whole body wants to stay right here, in this moment, protecting this little girl from everything outside that door. But she can't, because rent doesn't pay itself. because the manager at their apartment complex already threatened eviction, because Sarah's phone has 17 missed calls from blocked numbers, and she knows exactly who's trying to reach her. "I'll be back in an hour," Sarah whispers. "You remember the rules?" Emma nods. "Stay quiet. Don't open the door. Count to 3,000 and you'll come back." 3,000 seconds, 50 minutes. That's how this 8-year-old measures time now. Not by clocks, by countdowns until her mother returns. Tell me that doesn't break something in you. Sarah makes it 43 minutes before everything falls apart. She's on the second floor, mopping the corridor outside the ICU, when she sees Linda coming down the hallway. Linda Torres, 56 years old. Supervisor of environmental services for 22 years. She's not a bad person. That's important to understand. She's just a person who follows rules because rules are the only thing standing between her and chaos. Linda's face is hard. That's the first sign. "Sarah, we need to talk." And just like that, Sarah knows. Her stomach drops. Her hands go cold. She follows Linda to the staff office, and the whole way there, she's doing math in her head. How much is in her checking account? $47. When's the next paycheck? It was supposed to be tomorrow. Can she find another job before rent's due? Maybe, if she's lucky. If David doesn't find them first. Linda doesn't sit down. That's the second sign. "I found a child in the supply closet on 3. Is she yours?" Sarah could lie. But what's the point? Emma has her eyes, her hair. There's no hiding this. "Yes, her name is Emma. I can explain." But Linda's already shaking her head. "Sarah, you know the policy. No unauthorized personnel in the building, especially not in restricted areas. This is a liability issue. I don't have a choice here." And that phrase, "I don't have a choice," it's the most dangerous lie we tell ourselves, isn't it? Because Linda does have a choice. She's choosing the rule book over the human being standing in front of her. But maybe you'd make the same choice. Maybe you've made it before. How many times have you followed protocol when your gut told you to do something else? Sarah begs. She actually begs. And if you've ever had to beg for something you desperately need from someone who has the power to give it, but won't you know what that does to your dignity? Please, Linda, please. I have nowhere else to take her. Just for tonight. Just until my shift ends. I'll never do it again, I swear. Please. Linda won't make eye contact. That's how you can tell she knows this is wrong. "I'm sorry, Sarah. I have to terminate your employment effective immediately. You'll receive your final paycheck by mail." By mail. Which means it'll take 7 to 10 business days, which means Sarah has $47 to last until December 3rd. She doesn't cry. Not yet. She just nods. Walks back to the supply closet. Opens the door. Emma looks up. She's on her 2,400th count. Almost done. Almost safe. "We have to go, baby." Emma's face does something that'll haunt you. She doesn't ask why. She just stands up, tucks her coloring book under her arm, and reaches for her mother's hand. This child has learned not to expect stability. At 8 years old, she's already an expert in sudden exits and broken promises. They walk through the hospital in complete silence, past the nurse's station, past the security desk, past the cafeteria where the Thanksgiving meal is being set up for tomorrow's day shift. Sarah's badge gets deactivated as they reach the door. She hears the beep, the little red light instead of green. She's already erased from the system. The parking lot is freezing. November in Pittsburgh doesn't mess around. It's 34 degrees and the wind cuts right through Sarah's uniform. She unlocks the Civic. Emma climbs into the back, navigating around the garbage bags like she's done this 100 times, because she has. Sarah sits in the driver's seat, stares at the steering wheel, and that's when it hits her. The full weight of what just happened. No job, no paycheck, no plan. Her phone buzzes. Blocked number. She doesn't answer. It buzzes again. And again. Her hands start shaking so hard she has to grip the steering wheel just to make them stop. Emma, from the back seat. "Mommy, are you okay?" And that's the question that breaks her. Because how do you tell your 8-year-old daughter that you're not okay? That you've failed her? That the man who hurt you both is out there somewhere and you can't even afford to run anymore? Sarah presses her forehead against the steering wheel and cries. Deep, shaking sobs that she's been holding in for months, maybe years. Emma doesn't say anything. She just reaches forward and puts her small hand on her mother's shoulder. And that's the exact moment when a black SUV pulls into the parking lot. It's 1:33 a.m. The vehicle is a 2022 Range Rover. Dark gray, clean, expensive. It parks 3 spaces away from Sarah's Civic. A man steps out, tall, maybe 6'1", wearing a charcoal wool coat over a button-down shirt, no tie. He's carrying a leather messenger bag. This is Dr. Michael Rhodes, 38 years old. He became the owner of St. Catherine's Hospital 6 weeks ago. This is his first Thanksgiving here. He's walking toward the entrance when he hears it. The sound of someone crying. He stops, looks over, sees Sarah in the Civic. And here's the thing you need to understand about Michael Rhodes. He's spent his entire adult life training himself not to notice other people's pain. Because if you notice it, you feel responsible for it. And you can't save everyone. But something about this moment catches him. Maybe it's the garbage bags in the back seat. Maybe it's the little girl with her hand on her mother's shoulder. Maybe it's the way Sarah's hands are gripping that steering wheel like it's the only solid thing in her world. He stands there for 7 seconds, watching, thinking. Then he makes a choice. He walks past them, goes inside, doesn't intervene. But 20 minutes later, when he's in his office reviewing the day's operations, he's going to see something that changes his mind. And once that happens, there's no going back. What does he see? Why does this stranger's breakdown become his responsibility? Stay with me, because the answer to that question is the reason this story ends the way it does. Dr. Michael Rhodes sits in his office on the 5th floor, and the first thing you notice is how empty it is. He's owned this hospital for 6 weeks, but there's nothing personal in here. No family photos, no diplomas on the wall, just a desk, a computer, and a stack of operational reports. He's reading through the night shift summary when he sees it. Termination, Sarah Miller, Environmental Services. Reason, policy violation, unauthorized minor on premises. Terminated at 1:17 a.m. Michael stops, reads it again. Unauthorized minor, on Thanksgiving. He opens the HR file. Sarah Miller, 32 years old. Hired 3 years ago, perfect attendance, 0 complaints, 3 Employee of the Month awards. Current address, P.O., Box 4782. Not a street address, a P.O. box. Michael's seen this before. People don't use P.O. boxes because they like the post office. They use them because they don't want to be found. He keeps reading. Emergency contact, none listed. Next of kin, None listed. This woman has scrubbed herself out of every database she can. Why? Michael leans back in his chair. He's thinking about the woman in the parking lot, the garbage bags, the little girl. Was that Sarah Miller? He picks up his phone, calls security. This is Dr. Rhodes. Pull the parking lot footage from the last hour. I need to see the employee entrance. 3 minutes later, he's watching Sarah and Emma walk to their car. He sees Sarah break down. He sees the little girl comfort her mother, and something in his chest tightens, because he recognizes this. Not the specifics, but the shape of it, the desperation, the fear. He's seen it before, a long time ago, in someone he loved. Let me tell you about Michael Rhodes. Not the doctor, not the hospital owner, the boy. He was 7 years old when his mother, Caroline, started working night shifts at Mercy General Hospital in Baltimore. She was a custodian, same job Sarah has, same overnight hours. Caroline brought Michael to work exactly 4 times. 4 nights when she had no other option, when the neighbor who usually watched him was sick, when the shelters were full. When Michael's father, a man named Richard Rhodes, was in one of his moods. That's the word Caroline used. Moods. Like it was weather. Like violence was just something that happened beyond anyone's control. Michael remembers sitting in a storage room, just like Emma. He remembers the smell of bleach, the sound of his mother's footsteps in the hallway, checking on him every hour. He remembers the 4th night, when Caroline's supervisor found him, when she got fired on the spot. They lost their apartment 3 weeks later, spent 2 months living in a shelter, then another 6 months in a weekly rate motel that smelled like mold and cigarettes. It took Caroline 2 years to get stable again. 2 years of scrambling, of working 3 part-time jobs, of keeping Michael fed while she skipped meals. Michael was 9 years old when she finally saved enough to rent a real apartment. He remembers the day they moved in. His mother cried. He didn't understand why at the time. Now he does. Stability isn't just about having a roof over your head. It's about knowing that tomorrow isn't going to shatter everything you've built today. Caroline gave him that, sacrificed everything to give him that. And Michael spent the rest of his life trying to pay her back. Medical school, residency, private practice. He made good money, bought Caroline a house, made sure she never had to work another overnight shift. She died 4 years ago, stroke. She was 61. At her funeral, Michael made himself a promise. If he ever had the power to rewrite the kind of wrong that was done to his mother, he'd do it. He bought St. Catherine's Hospital 6 weeks ago, paid $18 million. People asked him why. It's not a prestigious research hospital. It's not particularly profitable. It's just a mid-sized community hospital in Pittsburgh. Michael never answered that question. But the truth is simple. He bought it because his mother once told him, "The people who clean hospitals keep them running just as much as the doctors who work in them. Don't ever forget that." He hasn't. And tonight, looking at Sarah Miller's termination notice, he realizes he's been given the chance he's been waiting for. So what does he do? He picks up the phone and calls Linda Torres. While Michael is making that phone call, Sarah is still sitting in her car trying to figure out what to do next. She's called 3 shelters, all full. She's called her caseworker, voicemail. She's checked her bank account twice, like maybe the number will change if she refreshes it enough times. $47. Emma is asleep in the back seat now, curled up under a jacket, using one of the garbage bags as a pillow. She's good at sleeping in cars. That's not something a child should be good at. Sarah watches her daughter in the rearview mirror and thinks about the last 2 years. How did it come to this? She married David when she was 23. He was charming, attentive. He had a good job in construction. He talked about building her a house someday. The first time he hit her, she was 25. He apologized, cried, swore it would never happen again. It happened again, and again. By the time Emma was born, Sarah had stopped counting. You can't count something that never stops. She left him when Emma was 6, filed for divorce, got a restraining order, moved to a different city. David fought her on everything. Custody, assets. He dragged the divorce out for 18 months, costing her thousands in legal fees she didn't have. The restraining order was supposed to protect her. But paper doesn't stop a man who's decided you're his property. David violated the order 4 times. The 4th time, he broke into her apartment and put her in the hospital. Fractured ribs, concussion. Emma was there. She saw the whole thing. That's when David finally went to jail. 18 months for assault and violation of a protective order. He got out 72 hours ago. His probation officer called Sarah to let her know. He's required to check in every week. He's not allowed within 500 feet of you or Emma, but I thought you should know he's out. That was Monday. On Tuesday, Sarah's phone started ringing. Blocked numbers, hang-ups, text messages from accounts she didn't recognize. Asterisk, I know where you are. Asterisk, asterisk, you can't hide her from me. Asterisk, asterisk, she's my daughter too. Asterisk. Sarah reported it to the police. They said they'd look into it, but without proof that it's David, there's nothing they can do. So Sarah did the only thing she could think of. She kept Emma close, didn't let her go to school, didn't leave her with anyone. Brought her to work because a hospital with security cameras felt safer than anywhere else. And now she has no job, no plan, and $47. Her phone buzzes again. She looks down. Blocked number. She stares at it, lets it ring 5 times, 6, 7. Then she answers. Stop calling me. Silence on the other end, then breathing, heavy, deliberate. A man's voice. You can't keep her from me, Sarah. Her blood turns to ice. David. I'm her father. I have rights. The court said so. You have supervised visitation. That's it. And you know what? Your probation officer is going to hear about this call. He laughs. Actually laughs. Good luck proving it's me. I'm calling from a friend's phone. And even if you do, what are they going to do? I didn't threaten you. I'm just reminding you of my rights. Sarah's hands are shaking again. Stay away from us. Or what? You'll call the cops? You'll run? Go ahead. I'll find you. I always do. The line goes dead. Sarah sits there, phone in her lap, heart pounding so hard she can feel it in her throat. Emma stirs in the back seat. Mommy? Sarah forces her voice steady. It's okay, baby. Go back to sleep. But it's not okay. And they both know it. What would you do? If you were Sarah, sitting in that car, with nowhere to go, and someone hunting you, what's your next move? Back inside the hospital, Michael is standing in Linda Torres's office. It's 2:47 a.m. Linda looks exhausted. She's been on shift since 3 p.m. yesterday. Thanksgiving means double shifts for management. Dr. Rhodes, I didn't know you were here tonight. I wanted to check on the holiday operations. I saw you terminated an employee earlier, Sarah Miller. Walk me through what happened. Linda shifts uncomfortably. She brought her daughter to work, hid her in a supply closet. It's against policy. Liability issue. I didn't have a choice. There's that phrase again. I didn't have a choice. Michael doesn't react. He just asks, "Did you ask her why?" Why what? Why she brought her daughter? Linda blinks. Does it matter? It might. Linda shakes her head. She said something about not having child care. But that's not my problem. We have policies for a reason. Michael nods slowly. You're right. We do have policies, and I'm the person who can change them. Linda stares at him. What? I'm reinstating Sarah Miller, effective immediately, with full back pay for tonight's shift. Dr. Rhodes, with all due respect. Linda, how long have you worked here? 22 years. And in those 22 years, how many times have you had to choose between following a rule and doing what's right? Linda doesn't answer. Michael continues, I'm not criticizing you. You did what you thought was correct. But I'm telling you now, this is my hospital, and I'm choosing differently. Sarah Miller gets her job back. Do you understand? Linda nods stiffly. Yes, sir. Good. I'll call her myself. Michael leaves the office and pulls out his phone. He opens Sarah's employee file and dials her personal number. It rings 4 times before she answers. Her voice is guarded, afraid. Hello? Miss Miller, this is Dr. Michael Rhodes. I'm the owner of Street Catherine's Hospital. I need you to come back, right now. We need to talk. Sarah almost hangs up, because when someone with power says, we need to talk, it's never good news. But Dr. Rhodes doesn't sound angry. He sounds calm, steady, like he's genuinely asking, not ordering. I don't understand. Linda fired me. I know. I'm unfiring you. Can you come back to the hospital? I'll meet you in my office. 5th floor. Sarah looks at Emma in the back seat, still asleep. I have my daughter with me. Bring her. Sarah's breath catches. Are you serious? Completely. 5th floor. I'll be waiting. He hangs up. Sarah sits there, stunned. Is this real? Is this some kind of trap? But what does she have to lose at this point? She starts the car, drives back across the parking lot, parks in the same spot she left 20 minutes ago. Emma wakes up as Sarah unbuckles her. Where are we? We're going back inside, baby. Someone wants to talk to me. Are we in trouble? Sarah pauses, looks at her daughter. This little girl who's learned to expect the worst. I don't know yet, but we're going to find out together. They walk back through the employee entrance. Sarah's badge still doesn't work red light, but the security guard recognizes her and waves them through. The elevator ride to the 5th floor feels like it takes an hour. Emma holds Sarah's hand. Neither of them speaks. The doors open. There's a directory on the wall. Administration, Dr. Michael Rhodes, Hospital Director. Sarah follows the signs, finds the office. The door is open. Michael is standing by the window, looking out at the parking lot. When he hears them, he turns. And for a moment, they just look at each other. Sarah sees a man who's taller than she expected, dark hair, graying at the temples, tired eyes, kind eyes. He's wearing slacks and a button-down with the sleeves rolled up. There's a coffee cup on his desk, half empty. Michael sees a woman who looks like she's been running for a very long time. Thin, pale, shadows under her eyes. But there's something else too. Strength. The kind you don't choose. The kind that gets forced on you. And then Michael looks down at Emma. The little girl is clutching her mother's hand, half hiding behind her leg. She's got the same eyes as Sarah, the same wariness. Michael kneels down, gets on her level. "Hi there. I'm Michael. What's your name?" Emma looks up at her mother. Sarah nods. "It's okay." Emma. "It's nice to meet you, Emma. I like your teddy bear." Emma pulls the bear closer. "His name is Mr. Buttons. He's missing an eye." "That's okay. My teddy bear when I was your age was missing an arm. His name was Captain." Emma's face softens. "Just a little." "What happened to his arm?" "My dog ate it. His name was Biscuit, and he was very sorry afterward." Emma almost smiles. Almost. Michael stands back up, looks at Sarah. "Please, sit." And that's when this conversation really begins. Sarah sits down in the chair across from Michael's desk. Emma stays standing beside her, one hand on her mother's shoulder. Michael doesn't sit behind the desk. Instead, he pulls another chair over and sits across from Sarah like they're equals. "I want to start by apologizing," he says. "You shouldn't have been fired tonight. Linda was following policy, but that doesn't make it right." Sarah's defenses go up immediately. "If you're about to offer me my job back out of pity—" "Not pity. Principle." That stops her. Michael continues. "I reinstated your position an hour ago. Full back pay for tonight. Your badge will work again in about 10 minutes. But before you decide whether to accept, I need to understand what happened. Not for HR, not for legal, for me. Why did you bring Emma tonight?" Sarah's jaw tightens. "Does it matter?" "Yes." "Why?" And here's where Michael makes a choice. He could deflect, keep it professional, but something tells him that Sarah Miller doesn't trust professional. She trusts the truth. "Because 30 years ago my mother brought me to her hospital job in the middle of the night. She was a custodian, just like you, and her supervisor fired her on the spot. We lost our apartment, ended up in a shelter. It took her 2 years to recover from that." Sarah stares at him. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I don't want that to happen to you. And because I think maybe you brought Emma tonight for the same reason my mother brought me. Not because you had no other option, but because you were protecting her from something." The room goes very, very quiet. Emma's hand tightens on Sarah's shoulder. Sarah's eyes start to burn. She blinks hard. "You don't know anything about me." "You're right. I don't. But I'd like to, if you're willing to tell me." And here's the thing about being seen, really seen. It's terrifying, because if someone sees you, they can hurt you. But Sarah is so tired of carrying this alone. So she takes a breath, and she tells him. What happens next? What does Sarah reveal, and how does Michael respond? That's where this story shifts from a rescue to something deeper, something neither of them expected. Sarah Miller hasn't told her full story to anyone in 2 years, not to caseworkers, not to therapists, not to the police. She gives them pieces, facts, dates, incident reports. But the whole story, the truth underneath the facts, that's something she keeps locked down. Because if you say it out loud, it becomes real all over again. But tonight, at 3:14 a.m. on Thanksgiving, sitting in the office of a man she met 20 minutes ago, Sarah tells the truth. My ex-husband's name is David. We were married for 6 years. He started hitting me 2 years in. I left him when Emma was 6, got a restraining order. Moved to Pittsburgh to get away from him. He violated the order 4 times. The 4th time, he broke 3 of my ribs and gave me a concussion. Emma watched the whole thing. She was 7. He went to jail. 18 months. He got out on Monday. Michael doesn't interrupt. He just listens. Sarah keeps going. His probation officer called to let me know. Said David has supervised visitation rights, 2 hours a week, with a monitor, at a facility. But on Tuesday, my phone started ringing. Blocked numbers, text messages, threats. I reported it, but the police say they can't prove it's him. Tonight, he called me. While I was sitting in my car after Linda fired me, he told me he'd find us, that he always does. Sarah's voice cracks. She steadies it. I brought Emma to work because I didn't have anywhere else to take her. Every shelter in the city is full. I can't afford a babysitter. I can't leave her alone. But the real reason? The one that kept me up last night and the night before? The hospital has security, cameras, locked doors, guards. If David came looking for us here, someone would stop him. Someone would see. At home, it's just me and a door that locks from the inside. And I've seen what David can do to locked doors. She looks Michael directly in the eyes. I didn't bring her to work because I'm irresponsible. I brought her because it was the safest place I could think of. And I'd do it again, even if it costs me this job. Even if it costs me everything. Because my daughter's life is worth more than a paycheck. Silence. Emma is crying now, quiet tears. She wipes her face with her sleeve. Michael's hands are folded in his lap. His face is unreadable. Then he speaks. How much do you have in your bank account right now? Sarah blinks. What? Humor me. How much? $47. Why? Michael nods. Like that confirms something. When's your rent due? 1st of the month. I'm already 2 weeks late. How much do you owe? $900. But I don't see. And if you don't pay, you're evicted. Yes. Michael leans back in his chair. He's quiet for a long moment. Then he says something Sarah doesn't expect. I'm not going to give you money. Sarah's face hardens. I didn't ask you to. I know. That's why I'm not offering. Because what you need isn't a handout. It's stability. And I can't give you that with a check. But I can give you something else. Michael stands up, walks over to his desk, opens a drawer and pulls out a folder. 6 weeks ago, when I bought this hospital, I inherited a program that's been inactive for 3 years. It's called the Employee Housing Initiative. It was started by the previous owner but never got off the ground. The idea was simple. The hospital owns 4 apartment units 2 blocks from here. Small, 1 or 2 bedrooms. They were supposed to be emergency housing for staff going through hardship, medical residents, nurses escaping bad situations, single parents. Nobody's living in them right now. They're just sitting empty. He hands Sarah the folder. Inside are photos. A small apartment. Clean. Furnished. Nothing fancy, but stable. I'm offering you one of these units. Rent-free for 6 months while you get back on your feet. After that, subsidized rent based on your income. The building has security, cameras, a front desk attendant, controlled access. Sarah stares at the photos. Her hands are shaking. I don't I don't understand. Why would you do this? Michael sits back down. Because I told you. My mother was you 30 years ago, and nobody helped her. Nobody asked why. Nobody gave her a second chance. I can't go back and fix that. But I can do this. Sarah's crying now, full tears. She covers her mouth with her hand, trying to hold it together. Emma looks up at Michael. Are you a superhero? Michael smiles. It's sad and warm at the same time. No, I'm just someone who remembers what it feels like to be scared. Sarah wipes her eyes. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Take the apartment. Keep your job. Let me help you. I can't just, this is too much. You don't even know me. I know enough. And here's the thing, Sarah. You've been running alone for 2 years. You've been strong enough to survive, but you don't have to do it alone anymore. Let someone carry part of this with you. Sarah looks down at Emma. Her daughter is watching her with those big, hopeful eyes. Can we really stay there, Mommy? In a real apartment? And that's the moment Sarah breaks. Because Emma doesn't remember what a real apartment feels like. She spent so long in cars and motels and shelters that the idea of a stable home sounds like a fantasy. Sarah nods. Yeah, baby. We can stay there. Emma throws her arms around her mother's neck. And Sarah, looking at Michael over her daughter's shoulder, mouths 2 words. Asterisk. Thank you. Asterisk. Michael nods. But this story isn't over yet, because at that exact moment, Michael's phone rings. It's hospital security. Dr. Rhodes, we have a situation at the front desk. A man is demanding to see an employee. He's getting aggressive. We need you down here. Michael's face goes hard. Who's he asking for? There's a pause. Sarah Miller. The world stops. Sarah's face goes white. She stands up so fast the chair tips backward. He's here. Oh God, he's here. He found us. Michael is already moving. Stay here. Lock the door behind me. Don't open it for anyone except me. No, you don't understand. David is dangerous. I understand. Trust me. Lock the door. Michael walks out. Sarah slams the door behind him and turns the lock. She pulls Emma close, her whole body shaking. Emma whispers, Is it Daddy? Sarah can't lie. I think so. Is he going to hurt us? Not while I'm breathing. Down in the lobby, Michael steps out of the elevator. He sees the scene immediately. A man, early 30s, average height, wearing a Carhartt jacket and jeans. He's standing at the front desk, arguing with the security guard. I'm telling you, my wife works here, Sarah Miller. I have a right to see her. The guard, a woman named Patricia, keeps her voice calm but firm. Sir, I've explained this. I can't give out employee information. If you don't leave, I'll have to call the police. Call them. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm looking for my wife. Ex-wife, Michael says. David turns. Who the hell are you? Dr. Michael Rhodes. I own this hospital. And Sarah Miller isn't your wife. She's your ex-wife, with a restraining order against you. David's face twists. That's none of your business. It is when you show up at my hospital at 3 a.m. harassing my staff. You need to leave, now. David steps closer. I have rights. The court gave me visitation with my daughter. Sarah's keeping her from me. Supervised visitation, at a facility, not at her workplace in the middle of the night. You're violating your probation right now. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to walk out that door, and if you ever come back here, I'll have you arrested for trespassing. Do we understand each other? David laughs. It's a cruel sound. You don't scare me. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm telling you how this ends. You can walk out now, or you can be escorted out by the police. Your choice. David looks past Michael, toward the elevators, like he's calculating whether he can get past him. Michael sees it. Don't. Or what? Or, I make a phone call to your probation officer right now, and you spend the night in jail. David's jaw clenches. He's weighing his options. Then he smiles. It's the kind of smile that makes your skin crawl. Tell Sarah I'll see her soon. He turns and walks out the front doors. Patricia immediately locks them behind him. Michael pulls out his phone and calls 911. I need to report a restraining order violation. 5 minutes later, a police cruiser pulls into the parking lot. Michael watches from the window as they stop David before he can leave. They talk to him, check his ID, take a report. David keeps looking back at the hospital. Even from here, Michael can see the rage on his face. But the police let him go. There's not enough evidence to arrest him. He didn't threaten anyone, didn't break any laws. He just showed up, just asked questions. And that's the horrifying truth about men like David. They know exactly how far they can push without crossing the legal line. Michael takes the elevator back to the 5th floor, knocks on his office door. Sarah, it's me. Michael, you can open the door. There's a pause. Then the lock clicks. The door opens a crack. Sarah's eyes peer out, wide and terrified. Is he gone? For now. The police are filing a report. But Sarah, we need to talk about next steps. Sarah and Emma are sitting on the small couch in Michael's office. Emma has fallen asleep, her head in Sarah's lap. Sarah is stroking her daughter's hair, staring at nothing. Michael sits across from them. The apartment building I told you about, it has 24-hour security, front desk check-in, cameras on every floor, no one gets in without being on the resident list. I'm going to call ahead right now and have them add you. You can move in tonight. This morning. Right now, actually. Sarah shakes her head. He knows where I work now. He'll come back. Maybe, but he won't get past the front desk again. I've already flagged your file as confidential. Security has his photo. If he shows up, they call the police immediately. That didn't stop him tonight. No. But it slowed him down, and that matters. Sarah looks down at Emma. I can't keep living like this, running, hiding, looking over my shoulder. I know. So, what do I do? Michael leans forward. You let people help you. You accept the apartment. You keep your job. You build a life that's stable enough that if David tries to take you to court, you have something to stand on. Right now, you're surviving. I'm offering you a chance to do more than that. Sarah's quiet for a long time. Then she says, Why are you doing this? And don't say it's because of your mother. There's more to it than that. Michael hesitates. Then he tells her the rest. My mother worked herself to death trying to give me a stable life. She had 3 jobs, never took a day off, never asked for help. By the time I finished medical school, her health was already failing. I bought her a house, paid off all her debts, told her she could retire. She lasted 4 years. When she died, I realized something. I spent my whole life trying to pay her back, but what she really wanted wasn't money. It was for someone to have helped her when she needed it most. so she didn't have to carry everything alone. I can't help her anymore, but I can help you, and maybe that's selfish. Maybe I'm doing this more for me than for you, but either way, the offer stands. Sarah looks at him, really looks at him, and she sees it. The grief, the guilt, the need to fix something that can't be fixed. She recognizes it, because she carries the same thing. Okay, she whispers. Okay, I'll take the apartment, I'll accept the help, but I need you to promise me something. What? If this goes wrong, if David finds us, if something happens, you make sure Emma is safe. You get her out. You don't let her go back to him. Promise me. Michael meets her eyes. I promise. And in that moment, something shifts between them. It's not romance. Not yet. It's something deeper. Trust. The kind you only give to someone who's seen the worst parts of your life and didn't walk away. 3 months later, it's February. Sarah Miller is sitting in a conference room at St. Catherine's Hospital. She's wearing business casual, a blouse and slacks she bought from a thrift store. Her hair is pulled back. She looks rested, healthy. She's in a meeting with the HR director and Michael. They're offering her a new position, administrative coordinator for the Environmental Services Department, a promotion, salary, benefits, daylight hours. She accepts. After the meeting, she walks through the hospital lobby and sees it, the bulletin board near the cafeteria. There's a photo of her and Emma at the hospital's holiday party. Emma is wearing a red dress, grinning at the camera. Sarah has her arm around her daughter, smiling. The caption reads, Asterisk, Employee Spotlight, Sarah Miller and her daughter Emma. Sarah has been with St. Catherine's for 3 years and recently moved into our employee housing initiative. We're proud to have her on our team, asterisk. Sarah stares at it. She never thought she'd be someone worth spotlighting, someone whose life was stable enough to celebrate. Pretty great photo. She turns. Michael is standing behind her, holding 2 cups of coffee. He hands her one. You did this, she says. You did this. I just gave you a chance. You're the one who took it. They stand there, side by side, looking at the photo. How's Emma doing? Michael asks. Good. Really good. Her therapist says she's making progress. She's sleeping through the night now. Started drawing again. Happy things this time. Rainbows. Flowers. She drew you last week, actually. Yeah? Yeah. She made you a superhero. Cape and everything. Michael laughs. I'm definitely not a superhero. You are to her. To both of us. Silence. The comfortable kind. David's parental rights were officially suspended last week, Sarah says quietly. His probation officer filed a report after he showed up here. Combined with the harassment calls, the judge ruled he's a threat. No more visitation, not even supervised. How do you feel about that? Sarah thinks about it. Relieved, guilty, sad. Emma asked me if Daddy would ever get better. I didn't know what to tell her. You told her the truth. I told her that some people don't get better, and that's not her fault, or mine. Michael nods. That's the right answer. They sip their coffee. The hospital hums around them. Doctors, nurses, patients, life continuing. I'm starting night classes next week, Sarah says. Business administration. The community college has a program. I figure if I'm going to work in hospital admin, I should actually know what I'm doing. You already know what you're doing. Yeah, but a degree wouldn't hurt. Michael smiles. No, it wouldn't. Another pause. Then Sarah says, Emma wants to know if you'll come to her birthday party. It's next Saturday. Nothing big, just cake and a few kids from school. But she insisted I ask you. Michael looks at her. There's something in his eyes. Something warm. I'd love to. Yeah? Yeah. Sarah smiles. It's the first real, unguarded smile Michael's ever seen from her. And maybe it's the coffee. Maybe it's the February light coming through the lobby windows. Maybe it's the fact that they've both survived things they shouldn't have. But when their hands brush as they walk toward the elevator, neither of them pulls away. It's not a romance, not yet. But it's the beginning of one. Because sometimes, love doesn't start with passion. It starts with being seen, with being safe, with someone standing beside you when the world is falling apart and saying, I'm not going anywhere. 3 months ago, Sarah Miller was fired for bringing her daughter to work. Tonight, she has a home, a job, a future, and a man who looks at her like she's worth fighting for. If you had the power to change someone's worst day, would you take it? Michael did, and it changed 2 lives forever. What would you do? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I really want to hear your take on this one. And if this story moved you, if you felt even a glimpse of truth in their pain, please take a moment to like this video. It helps more people like you discover stories that remind us what it means to feel. Don't forget to subscribe, because the next story might just be the one that stays with you forever. This was Obsidian Romance, where hearts remember what money forgets.